black and white answers. They don't like that gray. And sometimes we don't have that. Or their family members, you know. Well, when is he going to be back to himself? Or when is she going to be back to normal? Don't really have an answer for that. And sometimes the normal is no longer the normal. Now it's a new normal. Okay, so there's a lot of adjustment just for the soldier and for their family members too. And for the community, you know. Community members, especially if they're really involved in the community, they've been there their whole life, there's even an adjustment period with that. Just some numbers for you guys. I'm a bit of a numbers person, so Walter Reed, Big Army Institute, did this study of 1,709 soldiers and Marines after three to 4 months after coming back from deployment, okay? So as those numbers are broken down, and I put them in parentheses, the actual numbers, when we get down to here, 29% have received mental health treatment in the past year. That's 29% of this. So it comes down to about 33 people out of 1,709 actually received treatment, okay? So it's really difficult for soldiers to step forward and say, hey, I need help, or hey, you know, I need some resources, I need some support. One of the biggest reasons, I may be seen as weak. And doesn't that make sense when the Army values are all about leadership, right? Honor, courage, integrity, bravery, okay? Kind of goes against that grain. Some other reasons that the leaders might treat them differently or might not see them as being as reliable. They say I couldn't get time off for work. That's where you guys kind of come in a little bit. My experience is that, especially with soldiers, when they give me that excuse, I say, have you really talked to them? Well, no. Okay, you might want to talk to them because I think 1 hour a week is doable. Most businesses are going to work with you. Or you might have to adjust your time, or maybe you need to see a different counselor or whatever, you know, but, you know, to accommodate the time. But I said most businesses, in my experience, have been very flexible with that. And thank you for doing so because they need it. And as you know, not every therapist has their doors open 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. They usually don't, or not on the weekends. So it is helpful. And then the bottom one, it could harm their career, you know, if they seek help. Most of the time, nowadays, that is not the case. Back in the day, yes, that definitely was a big red flag, and then one way or another, they were out. Nowadays, with mental health treatment, we know, research shows, people get mental health treatment, you get better. There are those rare instances where you get treatment and things still aren't better, and then it's about making a determination at that point. Because at the end of the day, as far as my role, and then medical command role, you know, we're looking at physical fit for duty and mental health fit for duty. So you got to be fit for duty. I got to be able to say, if we were to deploy tomorrow, you could go. Okay? And if there's question about that, then we look at, okay, can we fix it, right? So to speak, fix it. Can we make improvements so you can become fit for duty, which in a lot of cases is true, either physically or mentally. But there are some cases where it's not feasible. So then we make a determination about possible medical discharge, which is an honorable discharge. It's not, you know, it's nothing to be ashamed about or feel bad about. Go ahead. What we try to do is instill some of these, you know, they have these features: strength, valor, courage, and fortitude. What we try to do is, that's the warrior ideal, right? And the Marines, they kind of take that as, to preserve our honor, you need to seek treatment, okay? Because that will help preserve your honor, right? If I'm seeking treatment now for something, okay, so maybe I'm showing up late to work, or maybe I showed up and I was really hungover, okay? And as an organization, maybe you have an EAP program, or you know that this individual is a veteran and has access to the VA, you know, having a discussion with, hey, go get help now. Okay, because it's a lot better than later on down the road and you're getting arrested for an OUI, you know, and then it's coming in that direction. So the way we take it, you know, the way we combat that whole theory of I'm weak if I seek treatment is No, if you seek treatment, then you're preserving your honor. Because how honorable is it for you to be off the side of the road getting arrested and thrown in jail? Not very honorable, is it? So that's what we try to do. We try to take that approach instead. And I think that's what I just went over, actually. Sorry, go ahead. Some reintegration issues. We talked about adjustment issues already. Reintegration back into the workforce. Okay, so even if they, let's say they came back from deployment and they're what we call an M-Day soldier. So they're a traditional guardsman. They're 2 days out of the month, 2 weeks out of the year, 1 weekend out of the month, 2 weeks out of the year. Or they were in the military full time for 20 years. And now they're looking to retire and start up a whole new career. Okay, so we're looking at reintegration issues as far as that, going back into the workforce. These are three main ones. There's another one that I usually put up here, tired. And I was like, how is tired an advantage? And then I thought of one, so I'll go over that in a moment. Go ahead. Wired. So these are the ones that, they have that adrenaline. They're always looking for more. They tend to be really attentive to detail. So they're the ones that'll come into a room and they're scanning, they're paying attention to everything. Okay, they're very wired. But how is that an advantage to you guys? They're probably going to be one of the best workers that you have because they're high energy. They pay attention to every little detail. Okay, you tell them to do something, they will do it to the nth degree and then some. Okay, so they're very, very motivated but very attentive. So if you have positions where you need someone like that, then that would be the kind of veteran that you would want. Go ahead. This is just a quote from someone, one of the soldiers, one of the veterans. As strange as it seems, inside there's a need to go to war. I can't tell my folks this because they'll think I'm not glad to be home. I feel trapped and like someone who's a schizo or something. I'm glad to be back, but there's something always gnawing at me and I can't figure it out. I feel really confused. Okay? A lot of this has to do with that feeling useful and purposeful, right? Because what they did over there was beyond useful and purposeful, right? I mean, they saved lives. They had each other's backs, okay? They were completing missions, okay? They come back here and nothing compares, not even close. This world is gray in comparison, okay? So that need to go back, it's like it gnaws at them, it draws at them. And mainly it's because of that need to feel useful and purposeful. So if you have, as a company, like Andy was saying, being responsible for hundreds of millions of dollars of equipment, then now coming back and needing to ask permission to go to the bathroom, there's better use of that veteran maybe, and looking at how can I make him or her feel really useful and benefit the company, right? Because it's a numbers game. We know as a business, you got to benefit too. It's not just about the veteran. So how can we make this a win-win? Okay. Next. This is just another quote. Okay. And this is actually from the book of.
Tribe.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, it is a great book. So just another quote for you guys to read. Go ahead. They have it on their handout too. The other one is shame and guilt. Okay. Why me? Why did I get to live and my buddy didn't? Okay, so they kind of carry that with them. What's beneficial about that is that they have this huge sense of responsibility. They feel very responsible. You give them something and they feel very responsible and they're going to do it. And not only are they going to do it, but they're going to look out for everyone else around them. So if they're a team leader, awesome. Okay, because they're going to look out for the mission, what you need them to do, what you need to accomplish. But they're going to look out for everybody that is underneath them as well. And they're going to make sure everyone's okay. They may forget not to eat lunch, right, Annie? But I guarantee you made sure your guys remembered to stop for lunch. And hey, it looks like you could use a water break or whatever, okay? So they're going to look out for others. Go ahead. Just a couple of things about the shame and guilt. Moral injuries. These are damage These are deeply held beliefs that are damaged in some way, okay? We all have morals, right? We all act on certain morals or certain ethical guidelines or rules, right? Well, soldiers do too, and very much so. Based on something a soldier does, something a soldier doesn't do, or something that's been done to a soldier. The most difficult moral injuries for veterans to deal with are these: failing to protect one of their brothers or sisters. Okay, so survivor's guilt is a really difficult one for them to deal with. Friendly fire, accidentally shooting one of their own. Death of a civilian, especially women and children, or being discharged from the military. Okay. They strive for a sense of belonging, a sense of purpose, okay? So when you have a veteran, again, if they feel purposeful and useful, and they feel like they belong, and that they're really valued in your company, you probably have a lifetime commitment out of them, okay? That's what they strive for, because that helps combat these things that maybe they experienced, okay? It gives them purpose. Okay. Just a word about PTSD. I'm not going to get too much in the weeds about it. But as I already said, most veterans don't develop PTSD. Do most of them have adjustment issues coming back? Absolutely. But most of those adjustment issues are actually normal. They're expected. And they're expected to dwindle over time or get better over time. Either they adjust, their family adjusts, they define what their new normal is, all those things, okay? So most of the time, it doesn't become pathological. Just like most veterans don't develop PTSD. Even if they do, we do expect recovery, okay? We have soldiers who have significant signs of PTSD, and they're still in the Guard because they're getting better. And that whole fit for duty thing, right? They're meeting the guidelines. Okay? So just because they have a diagnosis of it doesn't mean they get kicked out. And sometimes you may hear veterans say, oh yeah, they kicked me out because they found out I had PTSD. Not quite sure if that's completely true. Maybe, but mostly probably not. There's a lot of factors, a lot of parameters that come into that. Go ahead. So you guys have seen this before, just kind of reviewing, right? The acronym of leadership. Okay, loyalty, duty, respect, self-service, honor. The honor, integrity, and personal courage. For clinicians, that's our biggest challenge, is to combat that, as far as getting them help and normalizing that it's okay to get help, because they see it as a sign of weakness. Okay? Even in your businesses, you may see a veteran struggling, okay, and know that something's going on, but they're not asking. They're not sitting down with you saying, hey, I've had some problems at home. Okay, so they might need that little bump from you, that little kick in the butt. Hey, what's up? What's going on with you? I can tell something's different. And sometimes that is enough for them to be like, well, okay, yeah, maybe I should go get some help. They may not tell you, but that might be enough prompt for them to realize I need to do something about this. Next. Personal courage is facing fear, danger, and adversity. They don't have any fear. Most of them don't. I mean, you tell them to go do something, they're going to do it. And they're going to do it to the best of their ability, that's for sure. This is just some do's and don'ts. This is more for clinicians than probably for business, but it might be helpful to know this too. You don't need to treat them like the victim. You don't need to be soft and touchy-feely with them. They actually hate that. Right, Andy? If they are actually talking to you and sharing their story with you, just listen. You don't have to, oh my God, oh, that's so bad. Because as soon as you do that, they're probably going to stop talking to you anyway. So if you're trying to build trust with them, let them talk. Inside your head, you might be going like, oh my God, I can't believe he's telling me all this. But, try not to, because the moment they see that, they're going to be like, okay, well, obviously, if you can't handle what I'm telling you now, you're definitely not going to handle all the other stuff I could potentially tell you. Okay? If you want to build that relationship. Some businesses are much closer to their employees than others. So just depends on your on your situation. And then I guess that's about it. Here's some other further resources for you guys. If you want to learn more about PTSD, if you want to learn more about Veterans Affairs, Military One resource. Military One source is, again, a great website to refer veterans to if they need help with certain things. Like, say they have legal issues, custody issues, or whatever. You know, they have services and options for them. That covers so many different things, so many different topics.